Hello and welcome back to the Dune Minute Podcast, your place to dive deep minute by minute into the cinematic adaptation of Frank Herbert's world of Dune. I am one of your hosts, Zach.
And I'm John.
And today we are joined by a wonderful, wonderful guest. Super excited for this one. Been a long time in the making, and this is going to be a fun week. We are joined by the one, the only Atreides Nuts from Blue Sky, who we will, from here on out, just refer to as Dees for ease of voice. So, Dees, how's it going?
Oh man, wow, what an introduction. Can I just say that it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm a big fan of the show, and I was very flattered and excited when you guys slid into my DMs and asked if I wanted to be on a few episodes. So here I am. If I haven't disappointed you on Blue Sky already, hopefully I won't disappoint you further. But if I have, get in line. So.
Well, considering our conversations today on Blue Sky, you haven't disappointed us. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed everyone's contributions to the bands of Dune.
Honestly, there were some that like popped up that I was just like, why the fuck didn't I think of that?
Oh, they were so good.
Is this something I've missed?
Oh yeah, well, so you don't go on the internet ever.
No.
So
just to put hundreds of hours of my voice out there.
Well, that's different. You don't go on the internet for fun.
Fair.
You don't go on social media. So yeah, well, I'm gonna let you. I mean, it was your post, so I'm gonna let you go for it.
Oh, I mean,
tell people.
I think one of the things that's really fun, like, because I don't spend a ton of time like just hovering and doing stuff either, but today it felt like when I dropped the Bands of Dune CHOAM Speedwagon joke, that got people really into coming back with their own, and I love that.
That's
so they
really
caught me kind of right when I was taking lunch, and so we got like the Seach Boys, we got what were some of the other ones? Blaze Guns and Roses.
Yep.
Earth, Wind, and Spice.
Yeah.
I had Sleeper Token.
Good.
Green Arrakis.
Yep.
And
yep.
My personal
Arrakis.
My personal favorite from the list was Sligloaf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't get that reference, but
Meatloaf.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
I was gonna say Meatloaf, motherfucker.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. God, it was so fun. I mean, Boys to Fremen. Yeah, it was an unbelievable run. Like everyone who chimed in. It was just banger after banger after banger.
Lady Jessica Gaga.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah.
I feel like you could just say Sting and it would make sense.
Yeah.
I thought about it and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I was like, I wanted to do it, but I was like, there's nothing I could do that would be so good it would match Sting emerging from the pod in the steam in the 1984 movie. And if I can't match that, I'm not gonna besmirch it by doing something that's less than it deserves.
Fair enough.
There's so many more of these since I last looked, like Chair Dog.
But yeah, that one's so good. It was so good.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
It was so
I'm gonna
good.
have to look at this.
Yeah, I appreciate. I liked. I think my favorite that I did was probably the Rolling Stone Burners.
That's great.
I'm a big J Rays guy. The sooner you can burn my eyes out, the better.
I don't know. I liked Lead Carryall.
Dude, yeah, they were. That was fun. That was like a perfect I don't know. It was probably like half an hour, while I was taking my lunch break, and I was like, "This is great." That apparently we were all on at the same time today to just bounce these back and forth.
Oh God.
Well, I gotta say, man, John said it earlier, but I don't spend a lot of time on the socials, but I always enjoy seeing your stuff. It's never fails to make me laugh. So.
Oh well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, as long as other people are chuckling at it, that's really kind of all I expect or hope for. Unless someone wants to sponsor me, in which case I will absolutely shill for corporate money. I am open to that. So
Well, we have a running ethos here on the Dune Minute podcast that we can be bought. The price is high, but we can be bought.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally. Yeah,
I
Everyone
will
has a
whore
price.
myself
Like,
out for various sugary snacks and or
Yeah.
beds.
yes,
Totally. Was it Ted DiBiase, the great American philosopher Ted DiBiase, that said everybody has a price? I'm pretty sure.
sure. I know the quote. I
yeah.
don't know who said it, but I agree with it.
That's who it was. I know it was a wrestler. Remember which one?
Okay, well,
Any
we
hoozle-bee.
we have an awesome week to get through. This is going to be a fun one. We get some awesome character introductions this week, but first, we have to finish up with an important conversation. What?
Oh, with where we left off.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Why did you look at me like that?
Well,
Jesus
I didn't
fucking
know where
Christ.
you were going to go with it.
Okay. Well, we are. You're hearing stuff that gets cut out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. The good stuff, I believe, is the common parlance. Yeah.
So we are, of course, talking about minutes 70 through 71. What other minutes would we be talking about?
What if we just like skipped a week, 1 week, and then came back the week after doing the 5 minutes before?
I don't think that's confusing enough because that could just be contributed to a scheduling error.
All right, so we'll go like
I wanna-
4 weeks worth of episodes forward.
No, I want to bounce around random minutes for 1 week.
Honestly, if I may, maybe we spend 1 minute just reading whatever excerpt we have from Jodorowsky's Dune to really feel
Holy shit.
Well, so we just another little bit behind the scenes here. We started releasing episodes for Dune Part 2 on March 31st.
Okay.
April 1st was a Tuesday, and I floated the idea. We didn't end up doing it, obviously, but I floated the idea of taking a second minute from some unrelated movie and using that as our April Fool's Day.
Personally, I love that idea, especially if it's
if
like
it
just a
wasn't-
random minute, like not the opening, just like you do like a random minute from the movie Always, and people are like, "Why are they talking about Richard Dreyfuss?"
No,
and
we'll
John
do
Goodman
a
right
minute
now?
of Stand By Me
Yeah,
where they
yeah,
find
yeah.
the body.
But see, the thing is, we would have to come up with back jokes that we would like in jokes and everything that we'd have to reference.
Yeah, no.
Oh my
it'd be too
god,
much.
I love this idea so much. I will say there was a small part of me, I was like, do I want to do the math and see if I'm getting to do minute 69? And
Just
then I was
missed
like,
it.
no, I don't want to know. If I do, that'll be magic, and if I don't, it's okay.
Oh man, yeah, we did make a 69 nice joke, I think, on the 69th minute.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's required. It's unfortunate that Dune Part 2 was not longer, because if you could do a 69th minute and then a 420th minute joke from the same movie, that would be
That's
really
true.
good. Actually, between the two movies, are there 420 minutes? Like,
148 and 150.
oh no,
So
no,
no.
rats. No.
If we
just
did
short.
credits,
okay, well, we'll
maybe.
have to wait.
No.
Have to wait for Messiah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
So-
Chosen one has come. 420th minute of Villeneuve Dune.
So in the 70th minute, though, we are picking up at the end of the conversation between Urlan and Gaius Helen Moheim. Now, Dees, I don't know about you, but I say Urlan to pronounce the name. I think that's correct. I'm terrible at this, though, at pronunciation, so I may bounce around.
I've always been an Irulan person, but
Whatever. It's all made up anyway.
I also squarely fall in the Irulan camp. However, there is only one name that really merits discussion, I think, on this podcast. That is Rabin.
Okay, so where do you fall?
Oh man, wow, put me on the spot. To be honest, I'm a Raban guy. Um,
Yes,
it
yes.
just feels right. But to do a callback to a few episodes ago, I mean, I do not think it would be out of character for the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen to intentionally mispronounce his nephew's name just to
Oh,
irk
you're a
me.
Harkonnen
Uh,
guy?
Oh yeah,
oh,
he's a
okay.
purist. He's a
So
purist. We
listen,
love it.
here's the thing. I'm Harkonnen or Harkonnen. I'm either one. Although I think actually the better pronunciation is probably Harkonnen. But man, Harkonnen, it's just that's like so ingrained in my brain from my youth. Watching this movie before I read the books and having no
Sure.
idea what was going on. Um, that now it's like it's just hard to break.
That's fair.
I mean,
So yeah.
I gotta admit, the other night I was, scrolling through my list of movies and everything, and didn't know what to watch, so I settled on Dune.
As you do.
But I settled on the '84 director's cut of Dune, which is
Oh,
a good bit longer than the regular
I
'84
was
Dune.
I was gonna say, is that the one that someone like spliced together on YouTube? And like, oh, there's one on there that's like an extended edition where like they basically cut everything and put it together. I can't remember. Sorry, I'm rambling. This is, this is trust me, worth a watch if I can ever remember what it was called.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. But yeah, hearing Harkonnen and uh, Landstrad and all of these like really weird pronunciations for things just kind of sent me back a little
Yes,
bit, and I was like, oh man.
yeah, Spice. It's like, where did you get Spice? It's not. No one calls it that. That's not really in the movie. Everybody, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know that was a joke. I don't need to clarify.
So we were picking up between Irulan, whatever, and Gaius Helen Moheim. Um, so at this point, Irulan is picking up on the Bene Gesserit's involvement in Arrakis. She's kind of putting all the pieces together, just as they're doing a classic walk and talk through
We,
this.
we love a walk and
We
talk.
love a walk and talk.
They're
through,
walking and talking at a pretty brisk pace too.
Yes, it's a sprint and talk almost.
Well, I wouldn't go so that far.
Yeah.
That far.
What is the mall walkers? Do you remember those people?
Speed walking. Yeah. So Zach and I used to work in a mall together. It's actually where we met.
Okay.
And
Oh,
we were our shift was basically the people that would like be at the store before the store would open to like get shit
like
ready and
restock
everything.
everything and
Yeah, and
yeah.
with us being there at 7 a.m., so were all of the old people that would have their little 2-pound dumbbells, and they would be speed walking in the mall.
They just do laps,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's what they're doing here.
Listen, more committed to health than I am. So no shade for me. Um, but that said, I mean, it would be got to imagine like 15th time you walk past Bed Bath and Beyond or whoever. You gotta kind of be like, all right, guys, like should
Hey,
really just go outside
there was
just for a minute.
there was just a little group of them, and I always equated them to the chickens that we raised when I was growing up. It was just a little pack of chickens just walking around, clucking at each other as they were walking around the mall, and I loved it. It was great. It's a great little community
Oh
building thing. It was wonderful.
Where's the rooster that you used to
yeah,
hit with the tennis racket?
Only when he attacked me.
wow. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So hello, Jeff. Um, yeah.
Uh,
No. I mean, honestly, like it's such a like wholesome thing. Like I love seeing people. I think one of the things that I really enjoy. Sorry, I'm going to get a little meta here for just a second. I think one of the things that I really enjoy about the community is like especially with Dune. Like there are so many people who are so passionate about it, and it truly is. I think like one of the more wholesome fandom communities, um, at least that I've encountered. And I think like I get so much joy even from seeing people who are into things that I'm not into being into those things with other people, and like
yeah,
whether that's power walking through the mall or Dune or whatever. It's like there's just something really cool about that
yeah,
that I think should be treasured.
I agree. I am a member of the. I'm like a light to medium Star Wars fan. but
Mm.
I am maybe even bigger than Dune Star Trek fan.
Ooh.
Oh, you were
Okay.
absolutely
Now,
bigger than Dune Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
Motherfucker,
is
you
this
always
like
have one of the series just going at all times in your house.
constantly like you're trying to figure out like how Riker is gonna sit in each episode, or
No,
is
I'm
this
always
like
hoping he does his
I'm
leg over the back of the chair stance. That's the power move. This is now a Star Trek
so
podcast.
Again,
yep, this is yep, perfect. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Next Generation Minute podcast. Obviously, we're your hosts. This is episode 1 million
Yeah, right.
of the TNG series.
TNGM.
So yeah, so are you now? Is Trekkie? Are we looking at that as a pejorative? Are you like a preferred Trekker person, or is this
I don't care.
like? Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, I don't care.
perfect.
I've never been outwardly called one of the like either of those because it is historically been something I've kept a little bit close to the chest until it gets brought up, and then people are
Okay,
like, "Oh, you
gotcha.
know a lot about this," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Duly,
the
duly noted.
yeah, okay. So I will most often get a Star Trek joke before I get a Dune joke, which is ironic, obviously, because I host a Dune podcast. But the Star Trek community is very polarizing. Sometimes there are some
Sure.
there's a level of toxicity in that I have not found in the Dune community, which at least yet. I'm sure they will rear their heads eventually, but I have not come across them,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that.
I can't wait for the super rational and calm discussions that are going to happen when Messiah comes out.
Sure.
Well, yeah, it'll be healthy conversation. I mean, people look, it's the internet, okay? People are on there to respect other people's opinions and broaden their own horizons. So why would it not be a really healthy, engaging conversation?
It's true.
I don't see another outcome. I don't.
Meanwhile, everyone that's read the books is like, that's the point, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. As it turns out, he's the protagonist. He's not the hero. He's the protagonist.
Exactly.
It's an important distinction.
So getting us back, I'm gonna be our rudders here and getting us back on track a little bit. But I love these tangents, and let's have 500 more of them, please. So
yeah, can I jump in on the power walking part?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think so. We're coming into this scene. We've just watched Raban almost bite it on the back of an ornithopter. We've seen the Emperor asking Irulan her advice on how to deal with this quote unquote prophet. And one of the things that I thought was really cool about this opening walking scene, when they're putting the camera on Notorious GHM, as she's walking, you can see her eyes because they're not as obstructed as they were in the first scene we meet her in Dune Part 1, where her first words that she says to Paul are, "Defiance is in the eyes, just like his father."
Yeah.
And so, like, she can tell a lot by looking at someone's eyes. And if you're watching her eyes in this scene, they are darting back and forth all over the place. Like, it's obvious, like, she's hearing that, okay, Irulan can read the tea leaves here. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
we gotta, like, okay, we're gonna have to put a lid on this thing. And I just thought, for sure, like, especially looking at how her eyes are handled in the Gom Jabbar scene, like, when you can see them, which is not the entire time, they are locked in on Paul. She knows exactly what she's looking for, and here, like, no, I think if the eyes are any indicator, like, I think this is the first time we see her rattled.
I would agree.
And
yeah.
It's a really, like, subtle. It's a nice way of showing, I think, how intuitive Irulan is, but also how serious the threat is of an emerging mystery leader of the Fremen.
I agree with that, and I'll talk on that just a smidge more here in just a second. But let's get there. So Irulan says she no, it's good. No, this is all leading into the same place. This is awesome. So Erlon, she makes the remark on Muad'Dib and how it's an unusual name. And right after she says this, she's walking ahead of Gaius Helen Moheim, and you can see the pieces being put together in her eyes. She's like clearly, she has a physical reaction to this realization. And when she says, what if Paul Atreides were still alive? This is the moment where I think it really shows that Moheim is rattled.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing about the Bene Gesserit is that they plan for every outcome.
Yep.
But I don't think that this is an outcome that they planned for, and she's only just now realizing, fuck, we overlooked this potential possibility, and now I have to come up with it. But also, I can't appear to Irulan like I'm rattled, so I have to be a fucking hard ass about this whole thing and just shut her up, so that way I look cool. Meanwhile, I now have 99 more problems to deal with, and this bitch certainly is one.
I thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought too, like when Irulan comments on Muad'Dib as a name, I thought it was interesting that it doesn't feel like she quite alights on the cultural definition of that, like as much as you might expect her to, because in the scene before this, like Gaius Helen Mohiam has said, Irulan is my most acute student, and it's not like she was her only student. Like she also instructed Margot Fenring, who we'll learn later on, who's also a very impressive sister of the Bene Gesserit order. So I thought it was interesting that when Irulan is talking about it, she just translated it as kangaroo mouse, which is literally true. And she knows that it's a war name as opposed to his Siege name. So she obviously has like some insight into the cultural nuance of naming in Fremen society, but she doesn't comment at all on what Stilgar tells us, that the naming ceremony about how Muad'Dib is wise in the ways of the desert. He creates his own water constellation that points to the North Star. We call Muad'Dib the one who points the way. And I'm not sure, like, I just thought that was interesting. And I think it was maybe a way to like build tension there, or like show some development in their understanding of exactly what it could mean for the reveal a few seconds later when she asked the question point blank, what if Paul Atreides was still alive? But I noticed that, and I thought that was really interesting. There's so much packed in the first like 10 seconds of this scene that
now you're
I'm
understanding
like,
the world that we live in, where it's like, holy shit, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I went back to the Dune Encyclopedia to see, like, is there something else about Muad'Dib that I'm missing? But there wasn't a whole lot in it that spoke to it, so I'm actually just using this as an excuse to flex that I own a physical copy of Dune Encyclopedia. So take that, nerds.
Well, okay, if we're flexing muscles, you got a softback or a hardback?
Oh man, no. Well, it's a very adequate back. Okay.
Some would say it's the perfect back.
Yeah,
it's got a really good personality, and it'll make you laugh, and like it'll make sure that like you're taken care of as well. Not like those other backs that are just assholes.
I'm not going to comment on whether it's a hard copy or a paperback. I'm just going to say that the copy of the Dune Encyclopedia that I own is more real than my Canadian girlfriend that I met at Bible camp in 6th grade. That is totally real, but no one can meet her or talk to her because cell phones didn't exist yet. So just going to say that, and we're just going to leave it there.
Going back to one of the things that you talked about that you picked up on as well, I think that kind of breaking some of the movie magic of this podcast here, or podcast magic, I'd suppose.
We do not record video for a reason, John.
Right. Well, on last week's episodes that came out before this one today, one of the things you talked about, one of your beeves was that Irulan in no way, shape, or form was Gaius Helen Mohiam's most acute student.
No, they described her as like a completely average student, which is why she
mid at best.
Which is why she was like manipulatable in the story. So Yeah, when Moheim said she's one of my most acute students, my ears perked up. I was like, that's not right. Hang on a second. Like, I
Yeah.
agree that's how they're portraying her in the movies, but like that is a little bit of a departure from the book.
Yeah, that I felt the same way. I was like, in this cinematic interpretations universe of Dune, like I'm willing to put aside kind of the descriptions of her in the novels to
Hmm.
buy that. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think you could also see a case where she's standing with the Emperor of the known universe. Like, it's probably not a good idea to call his daughter mid right in front of him when he's already irritated
Yo, your kid's mid
because
as fuck.
yeah, someone's halting spice production on Arrakis. So,
That's a
you know,
good point.
I could also see the pragmatism of like, oh yeah, no, your daughter's great. But for me, as I was interpreting the scene and watching the minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna accept that in this version she is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Well, it's like how in this
so with
version,
that.
Chani is a way more independent and,
Skeptical of the religion person.
well, I was gonna say
Yeah.
also just more thought out character
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
like she thinks for herself, she acts for herself, with the best interest of the Fremen in mind, but is not the, like we talked about with Alicia. Oh, Paul Usul, like
Well, there's that in the books. There's that in the movies here too. But she is much more of an, like you said, like a fiercely independent character.
she's not a woman written in the '60s.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
a
and I
woman,
think
not a
too,
woman
like,
written by a man in the '60s.
Yeah.
let's get down to what it was.
And I think too, like Zendaya's ability to translate Villeneuve's kind of vision for the character onto the screen, like it's really cool. Like I really love Villeneuve Chani.
Yeah.
Um, I think the book character is up clearly very important, but not nearly as interesting. And I think that casting decision in particular, like really, like it does such a good service to the character. This movie can't say enough nice things
Yeah.
about Zendaya's performance, but she doesn't need to hear it from me.
Last thing we were talking about was how all of us came to the conclusion that Irulan is not GHM's most acute student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were willing to
So-
put that aside for the sake of the movie's lore.
How Moheim like says this like, no, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about kind of like moment to Erlon. Do you have the full text?
Yeah. I'm just going to read the whole
Yeah,
conversation.
that's cool.
Yeah. So, minute starts. These are our own. Say that 5 times fast. These are our own religious patterns, aren't they? This is our doing. Muad'Dib means kangaroo mouse, an unusual war name for a Fremen. And this is that notable pause that we talked about where she like stops and mentats herself into then saying, "What if Paul Atreides were still alive? Enough. This must not come out, even to your father's ears. Do you understand? I do, Reverend Mother. If Paul is alive, he likely knows the truth, and should the great houses learn your father was behind the liquidation of the Atreides, your father will face war and lose the throne. Then what hope is there? Hope? We are Bene Gesserit. We do not hope, we plan. Paul is not our only prospect. The Baron's youngest nephew, Fade Routha Harkonnen, will inherit Arrakis."
Gotcha. So that part where she basically explains the plot of Dune Part 1.
Yeah.
That is that looks like brand new news to Erlon. She's putting pieces together, but I don't think she put those pieces together.
Yeah.
But when Moheim is talking about like the ramifications of Paul being alive, I couldn't decide whether she actually thought he was alive or maybe knew he was alive, or if she was really just fucking scared that he might be still alive. Because it would not be past the Bene Gesserit to have their little spiders everywhere reporting back to them. So she could possibly know that he is still alive, but she's keeping that super close to the chest. Or she's also put that together in her head, and maybe it's just coming to terms with it for the first time here.
I think it's more of the former.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because there are bits in upcoming minutes that will kind of lead us to the understanding that that's the case.
Okay.
Not to jump ahead.
No, it's fine.
But
please keep in mind, I have not seen this movie in its entirety since like March, or a very long time from this, so I've forgotten a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few things from this run of dialogue that I thought were interesting. I thought one, when she says, "This must not come out even to your father's ears," Irulan does not question that at all. Like, that is a crazy thing for her to say to the daughter of the emperor. Like, yeah, lie to your dad, who is the emperor of the entire known universe, if it comes up. And Irulan doesn't question it at all. It's just like, yep. Like, so I think, like, you also kind of get some insight into Irulan's commitment to the sisterhood.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, no question. And I thought too, there was some really cool light play with the Reverend Mother Mohiam's face here when she says, "And should the great houses learn that your father was behind the liquidation of the Atreides," her face is shrouded in shadow there. And she's literally saying, like, your father was behind that. And that, I think that it almost feels like that came as news to Irulan. Like, Irulan's like, oh snap. Like, what does that mean for us? And then, you get this exposition later on, like, kind of laying it out for her. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. I would 100%, if you told me, like, yep, that was exactly how they wanted to shoot it, they wanted the dialogue to come out when the lighting looked like that, like, I would believe you. If it's just coincidence, it's so great. Like, I was just like, oh man, yeah, that rules.
Given everything we've talked about and everything we've come to learn about the cinematography and Denis Villeneuve's attention to, like, super insane tiny detail like that choreography with the lighting and with Mohiam, doing the quick turnaround and being completely obscured, 100% planned and, like, blocked, like, way in advance. So, that's a very intentional, like, hide the face, because that's what the Bene Gesserit do. Like, they literally hiding their faces as they, scheme in the shadows.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah. Also, did either of you guys find it ironic when she says your father will face war and will lose his throne because the great houses would turn against him? And that's, like, literally, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. That's literally not what happens. It is the opposite of that. Like, all the great houses are like, nope, kill this usurper. Yeah. And I guess we'll find out in part 3 how that goes for
spoilers. Not well.
Well, I was going to say, if we can speculate ahead a little bit, I don't think they're going to adopt that plot line at all. Because I think they already would have dropped hints at that if they were going to do it. Now, they could do what they've done for plenty of other things here, and just introduce it in another form or fashion. But as it stands right now, they're not pointing the way towards that plot line.
It's so important for Messiah, though.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but there's also a lot of super important things that were left out of these movies.
Yeah,
Don't do this to me.
I would say, like, having...
Don't do this to me.
Oh, wait a minute. I guess we should have checked on this before we started taping. Are you guys Aaliyah or Alia?
I bounce back and forth. I think I mostly go with Alia.
Alia, yeah.
Yeah, same here. Okay. Oh, great. Okay, well, perfect. Hey, we're batting 1,000 on that name. Good job, guys. We agreed on one. Like, not having her in this movie, considering, like, the outsized role she plays in this part of the books, I thought that was an interesting decision too, and I wasn't sure how I was going to react to that, and I was perfectly fine with it. Like, by the time I was that was great. Like,
I don't know if you're up to date on our theory about Alia.
Ooh, maybe not.
Ooh,
so because Alicia's episodes haven't been released yet, so no, not fully.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of our episodes with our theory have come out at this point.
Is this the, like, I think you guys mentioned like you're wondering if Alia hasn't like pretty much like taken
Uh,
over Jessica at this
At
point.
not
Like
times.
she's
yeah, not fully taken her over, but at times of like
yeah, okay,
religious
yeah,
fervor or any kind of discussion, Alia is effectively speaking through Jessica instead of doing their weird like mother unborn daughter like
yes,
telepathy
Yeah.
thing.
okay. Full disclosure, I meant to after I listened to I forget what minute it was, but after I heard that, I found that so fascinating and cool. I meant to DM you on Blue Skies like this is dope. I'm gonna rewatch the movie, which I'm in the middle of doing. With that kind of in mind and looking forward. So I'm a million
Yeah,
percent on board with that theory. Like
yeah. It comes to a head like super super crazily when we have our conversations with Alicia about it because I think she pointed out some stuff that we hadn't even
Oh,
like
for sure.
considered too. So yeah.
oh
And,
yes, let's
and
go.
and guess what? It's only going to get weirder as the movie goes on. So
All right.
buckle up.
All right. I'm keeping us back on track.
You know when my
Yeah, Zach gets to edit these episodes. So
I'm keeping us on track. Hang on. Hang on. We got
oh that's
4 more
that's
days to
fair,
talk.
that's fair. Yep.
I don't mind
Yeah, I
releasing.
can't believe I get to spend a whole week with you guys.
Well, I think John's got a
cool.
guest bedroom, so
yeah. Hope you're not allergic to cats. All
I am not.
right, cool.
you're good then. We get the line, the super cold line. We are Benny Gesserit. We do not hope. We plan. Love that. And then I immediately went back over to Star Wars and I said, "Hope rebellions are built on hope," because I just got done watching Andor. And then we get the plot of basically the second chapter of the movie, which is Fade Routha is the next prospect, and John's already went through the dialogue, so I won't repeat any of that. But I did want to talk a little bit about Fade. It's the first time we get a name drop for Fade Routha in the movies, at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not played by Sting in this.
Unfortunately, not played by Sting. I think that would have been hilarious to bring him back to play a 17-year-old.
He could have done it. He's got the range. He could have done it.
He's still sinewy like he was in the in '84.
Oh God, being described as sinewy.
Was he not? Am
No,
I wrong?
he was, but like, ugh.
I just want to say one thing. You mentioned that you said the hope we are Ben Gesserit, we do not hope we plan. And you said that's cold line. And I would just like to say verbatim in my notes, I have that line written down. And the next thing after it is, geez, that line is cold. So props to you. We were vibing there on that one.
Yeah. I had some prescience, as David says, and I looked into your notes into the future.
Found a way.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I have some serious cybersecurity gaps that have been brought to my attention today.
So, Fade Routha, interesting dude, and we'll get to know him a lot more this week.
We get to know him a lot more tomorrow.
That's true. But just a little bit of backstory on Fade. He is the youngest nephew of the Baron and brother to Raban, which I have to admit, this was a little bit of a gap in my not necessarily my knowledge, but just how I'm remembering this. So, Beast Raban's name obviously is not his first name is not Beast. It's Glassou, whatever.
Glossu.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
sure there's
we're
100
batting
ways
we're
to say
batting
that.
zero on that one. So we swept Alia, but we're zero for Glossu Ribbon. Okay, yeah, that's great.
So Raban is the family name in this case. The father of Glassau, I'm just going to say Glassau, and Fade is a name that's a little bit familiar to us from, I believe it was a summer school episode, Abelard.
Abulard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Abelard Raban, who according to the books, is the current Count of Lankavale. So we get another name, a mention of Lankavale from Dune Prophecy, or I guess Dune Prophecy took it from this, however you want to look at that. But they were basically adopted by the Baron, and because Fade was favored, I guess. He was just the favorite of the nephews there. His last name was changed to Harkonnen instead of Raban. So we get the differentiation between the two brothers here.
Classic Vladimir move. Only give one of them the last name.
Which, I mean, honestly kind of plays into your theory, John, of Vladimir just fucking with people's names.
Well, hold on. No, that's not my theory. That's Deez's theory.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
100%.
Put some fucking respect on that shit, dude.
Yeah, it's
He offends to be offensive.
Yep. That line from Moneo, like, sorry, real spoiler alert for when we inevitably get a screen adaptation of God Emperor. Please, Denis Villeneuve, hear me when I say that. I
said that should be left to the animated series. That should just be like a really good animated series.
I'm in. Whatever it takes to get God Emperor to the screen is really all I care about. At that point, I can hang up my my maker hooks and call it a day.
Just let me see the gross protuberance.
We need on-screen beef swelling.
Oh, no. I'm offended. I mean, adult. But yeah, I think that was like it was such a great callback from Frank to give us that additional context. Like he's almost kind of begging you to go back and like look at the Baron from this perspective. Everything he does to offend because he just likes offending people. And it's like, oh man, yeah, like, oh, so good.
Well, we get to see the Baron a little bit later this week in quite an offensive position. So let's go ahead and get to that. John, any notes from Art and Soul?
Nothing for today. We'll have a little bit for tomorrow and the rest of the episodes, I believe. So we'll dive into those when it's more relevant.
Okay.
So,
Deez, any notes before we wrap up today?
Ooh, not for me. Although I will say that this minute ends on a real cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
Tune in tomorrow.
That's right.
well, as always, you can find us and our guests online. You can find us on Blue Sky at duneminute.com, and you can find our guest at Muad'Dib Atreides. And is it spelled Atreides D-E-E-Z, or is it just regular Atreides?
Two E's, one Z, baby.
Either way, we're going to have it in the description as well for the episode. Go follow D's Nuts. Oh, God, this is never going to get old.
It's so dumb. It's my favorite thing.
Go follow D's. Dude, I was pretty early in the Blue Sky train and everything and, like, trying to, like, find other Dune creators and other Dune people in the community. And, like, as soon as I saw your name, I was like, fuck yeah.
Dude, I could not believe it was still available. Like, I was like, really? No one took this? This just feels like so obvious. And there are other Atreides nuts on Blue Sky, but like no one, at least that's like super active with the handle. I was like, oh man, that rules. Because my objective, like with anything, if it's like an ID photo, if it's a handle, like I want it to be as stupid as humanly possible. Like I want people to look at it and go, that is so dumb. And I feel like I really like I made the grade on this one.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find us at duneminute.com, and you can email duneminute@gmail.com if you'd like to get in touch with us. We will be back tomorrow with another episode of the Dune Minute.
All right. See you then.
See ya.
See you tomorrow.